Hello and welcome to our live stream. This is Starlene, Breiter, and Anamere Albright. We're going to talk today. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on with the planets. I'm an astrologer, and we're going to pull a few cards. If there are people in the chat, if you happen to come in, we'll take some questions too and answer questions. Anamere and I have been friends for a really long time, and I'm excited to talk with you again. How are you doing today, Anamere?
Doing okay. It's been a really good day. Our weather here where I'm at has been beautiful, and I spent most of the morning outside, which was nice. And I'm always happy to spend time with you, so I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, me too. We've done a couple of videos. We've done a lot of things in the history of our friendship together, but we've done a couple of videos on ADHD, and I thought it would be fun because we both do readings and consultations in different various ways, and I thought it would be fun for us to do that and share like a reading on the air, and then see if we have anybody that comes in and talk to them. But what's been going on in your world? I know you're still like unpacking and moving into.
I am, and I feel like right now there's just been this like almost chaotic energy. You're the astrologer, so you'll have to fill us all in on what that's about. But I'm not sure. I just have had this like drive to get things done, to do things, and to get them done quickly. And it's kind of working hard, sometimes harder than maybe I should be, but I've just had a lot of energy. I've been writing a book for the last 8 years, and like out of nowhere, in a 3-week period of time, I have finished my book. Like I have written 5 chapters that I have been putting off all these years. So I just have this really great energy going on right now where I just feel really motivated and really productive, but also there's a little bit of chaoticness to it. And that's not bad either, but I'm interested always to hear your thoughts on that, because I think other people who might be listening, if they're feeling that too, they might have a better understanding of what's going on. How about you? What's been happening in your world?
Yeah, usually like the same life stuff been going on, just work, and I got over being sick for a few weeks. That was not fun, but just really nothing too new other than doing this, which I'm excited about because I think it'll be fun for us to start doing more videos together. I look forward to that. But yeah, I am also, so there are some new things. I am also starting a tarot course that is starting in May. And I'm starting a Reiki workshop that is also starting in May. So you can check out my website if you're interested in learning tarot, or if you're interested in learning Reiki. So those are 2 things that I'm doing that are new. They're coming up. So I've been focused on working with that. My students in astrology classes that I'm teaching, this month is off, so we don't start back until May, but there's not another astrology program starting until September. So I don't have new classes starting for a new cohort, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah. And speaking about the astrology, we've had so many shifts that are going on, and they're just going to continue. And I know I do the monthly video with Mark Matheny, but this is different, obviously. But what has really been a big thing is Neptune moving into the sign of Aries, and the reason that that's a big thing is because Neptune takes 200, I want to say 280, but I could be wrong. It could be not exactly 280, but hundreds of years to go around the zodiac. So we won't always get in a lifetime Neptune in Aries, and that's it's a thing that we're experiencing right now as it's traveling into Aries. We also have Mercury going over it as well. So the Neptune and Mercury are kind of working together, if that makes sense. And also, there will be a retrograde cycle with Neptune and Saturn, and then they will meet back in Aries, in the beginning part of Aries in next year. So this is like Neptune and Saturn are, if I could put it into simple words, it's wanting to quantify and make something real, tangible of the unknown. That's the Neptune energy. So Neptune is like the unknown, the mysterious, the dreams, the that sort of thing. And then Saturn's like the tangible. So there's a desire to bring something tangible. I kind of think about the idea of materializing God, if that's possible. I don't know, but like I think people will start kind of looking at things a little differently. And we have had shifts earlier in the year with Pluto moving into Aquarius. That was last year. And I mean, these outer planets, when they move and shift signs, they change a lot of the landscape, if you will. So that's the interesting part of it. And then moving towards the summer, we'll have Uranus, which is another outer planet going into Gemini. So that doesn't happen until June or July, though. But all these outer planets shifting into another sign in this short period of time is really telling of how things globally all around are changing all of us, a little bit. So it's interesting to see that as it plays out in people's lives too.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. That's always so cool. I was just thinking as you were talking, I'm like, big planets, big energy. That was what popped in my head. Big planets moving around, big energy happening. So that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It's a shift, and the shifts are not always easy. So when we go through shifts, they're not always easy things to go through. So finding your footing and your balance, and if anybody has eyes and ears and can like pay attention to any media, doesn't matter what, you could tell if the world is on fire. Kind of like, I'm joking about that, but it feels like it sometimes, like the world is just really chaotic. And I mean, that's been going on for a while, but I feel like, it is connected to the astrology of it. It's really interesting because if you look back at history and such, when Neptune was in Aries last was when Mark and I were talking about this, but it's when we were having the Civil War in the United States. So things shift, right? And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen again, but that was obviously a very precarious time. And here we are again with so much going on in the world. And it's like, what does that mean? What's going to happen? What's going to manifest here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things will unfold, huh?
They will. They will unfold and unpack.
And as they say, more will be revealed.
That's very true. More will be revealed. That's for sure. So I thought I would throw some cards to see what the cards are going to tell us. I know that you don't have your cards with you, but you can give us some intuitive insight there.
Yeah,
of what you're feeling too.
And while I definitely have a good feel on the numbers and the major and minor arcana and what each individual card means, I also use a lot of my intuition. I just make the words up as I go along. But I'm an intuitive empath, and so sometimes I just go with whatever my gut feeling is. And I thought maybe if we set an intention that if somebody is watching this not live, maybe they're watching it later and it's something that they need to hear, maybe what we have to share will speak to them. So I used to do that with some groups that I was involved with, and sometimes the most magical things come out, and I later get feedback that someone really connected with that and felt that that message was for them. So I guess my intention is just whatever you pull, I would go with whatever comes to my heart.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense too. And I'm very much like that as well. So I think the cards, I know there's a system to it, but I also have the intuitive part as well, because if it doesn't match with the intuitive part, there's something off, So let's see. Do you want to say an intention, or do you want it to be more just an intention on a personal level?
My heart says that I just want to set the intention that whoever needs to hear what we have to share will hear it, and have whatever message needs to come to them will come. Do you have something?
That sounds perfect.
Okay.
I like that. I think that's perfect. Okay. So I laugh at the cards because sometimes they're literal to me, and Okay, so the first card is the Five of Swords. So this is actually the after tarot. So it's the moment after the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot. So if you know the Five of Swords, there's normally they're all intertwined with their not swords, wands. They're all like intertwined. It's almost like confusion. And this is the moment after. So this is the images on these cards. But this is talking about having some confusion, having some your energy's a little bit misdirected. So if you've been feeling this way, that your energy has been misdirected in some way or another, knowing that this is going to be it's going to be ironed out in the time to come, because it feels like right now that the shifts that we were talking about with the planets and such, I think that gets a little chaotic for us, and we settle into it, and just it's a new path, if that makes sense. And so looking at it from that perspective is always going to help you to not necessarily feel so chaotic. And I feel like this landing in the first position is saying that if things have been feeling chaotic, you're going to be able to smooth them out. I thought it was interesting because the second card that crosses is the Six of Swords. So it crosses like this, meaning it's the challenge that's either going to help or hinder the first card. And the Six of Swords is about victory, actually making things work. In the traditional deck, this wreath is on his wand, so he's like doing but I like it because in this image, because then he's putting on the girl's head, so it's like having victory of smoothing out your mind, getting yourself more in order. We did have Mars retrograde, and it was in the sign of Leo and Cancer for Leo and Cancer, forever, and it just recently moved into Leo again. But it was first that, then it was Mercury and Venus, all like right one after the other, and some of it was overlapping. So it feels like a lot of those internal planets, when they go retrograde, there's more of an internal shifting going on, and so that was what was happening. But now it feels like that they're all forward moving, and these outer planets are also moving forward into new signs. There's like this, okay, what's the new place for us, if that makes sense. Did you want to add something to that?
Yeah, so something that came to my mind is that I feel like coincides, but and sometimes I just hear a voice that will it's not shouting. I just hear a very clear voice that will give me a message, which is fives are about change. And so I always tell people, anytime you see fives show up in a reading or show up in your life, or you could, might see a lot of fives, get ready for big change. Because any times that we have fives come into play, it's change of a job, change of location, change of relationship. And so I feel like whenever fives are present, that's just get ready for change. And I was also thinking that sixes are about love. And a lot of times, if you look at the six, I like the shape of the six, and I think about how it is almost like this pregnant belly of the mother. And so I feel like whenever sixes are present, I tell people to get ready for, changes in that regard when it comes to love, relationships, feeling a sense of being loved or embracing that. But I think, and whoever our reading is for, my thoughts are get ready for big changes in how you're loving and how you're living your life through love. And that's all that came to mind for me so far.
That's a good point. So in the root position of the Celtic cross here, I got the Page of Cups. So the Page of Cups he's the youngest of the court cards, or he or she could be a she too, but the energy is more feminine and more embracing and new to the idea of love and emotions, because the cups are love, emotions, sensitivity, water element. So there is a feeling of something new coming into the picture, holding it with care. I think it's interesting because in the traditional deck, the fish is in the cup, and like a moment later, it's jumping out. So it's like holding on, but not like so much that it escapes you. Does that make sense? So it's like what you said about love, and the sixes being about love was interesting too. Made me think of the Six of Cups, but this is the Page of Cups. So it's interesting because the idea of love and something new, even a new love for yourself, is kind of what the cards are pointing to here. And in the
And
mind
that's what
area,
ones are about.
yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And just to like layer on that, in the mind area is the Queen of Cups. So there's the feeling of having a balance emotionally, mentally. She's more mature. So you have the Page and the Queen on top and bottom of the Celtic cross. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What were you gonna say? Because I started kind of interrupt you.
So, oh no, it's okay. I interjected, so we roll like that. But ones are about new beginnings, and so I thought it was interesting that fives being about change, sixes being about love, new beginnings, and then when you have the queen, that's in a big, like you said, more mature way. And so I just feel like anytime I see the major arcana involved, my first thought is that there's power in that. There's going to be power in whatever is happening. And anytime I'm doing a reading and cups are involved, I also think of emotions. That is tied to emotions, and that there might be some big emotional changes that are beneficial. I also wanted to see, how much I love the Osho Zen deck. And another thought that popped in my head as I was talking was, I wonder if we shouldn't pull a single Osho card. Since I don't have my deck with me, I'm in the middle of moving, and so my cards are in a container in this house somewhere, but I'm not exactly sure where they are. So maybe we could pull an Osho card.
Yeah, let me pull one. All right. So this is the Two of Wands. It's the possibilities card. The
Beautiful.
possibilities card. Yeah.
And I
Yeah. So
love
there's a
that. I love the free flowing, free falling images that come to mind when we have possibilities come up. It's just beautiful. And I just feel like being open to possibilities is sometimes we just have to. Someone gave me this analogy once. It's like you're looking through a camera and you just click the lens just very slightly and our whole view changes. And sometimes we're not looking at the possibilities that are in our lives. And one example is, once I had someone who came to me for a reading and she wanted to talk about relationships, and throughout the whole time we were together, she's talking about her best friend, this guy, and they talked all the time, and they met through work, and he was her best friend. And I'm like, have you not thought about this possibility that is right here? Because love sometimes feels an awful lot like really good friendship, and great friendship is the basis of a healthy relationship. And it's funny because I do stay in touch with a lot of people over the years, and still married. They got married. They have 3 kids now, and but it's kind of like just taking the lens, as I was saying, and just click it over once. Like, is this a possibility in my life? Um, and so I think that anytime I see the possibilities card come up, it's sometimes we need to think about what we already have going on, and is there a possibility there?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, if there is just one little switch, what would that look like, and what could it be? That's very interesting. Hi, Caitlin. I see we have somebody in the chat, so that's cool.
Hi, Kaylin.
Nice to see you. So, in
Welcome.
the past, yes, in the past. Okay, I'm gonna pull up the next card. In the past of this Celtic cross is the Hermit card. So I like this
Ah.
version of the Hermit because his staff in the traditional deck turned into a snake. And
Mm-hmm.
the Hermit. Okay, so the Hermit does the whole quiet introversion stuff, but he always has this lantern, and it's like a metaphor for the light that's inside of the person. So the Hermit doesn't just go hibernate like a bear would hibernate or something like that. It's more like the idea of taking time to reflect and explore the inner light inside. So this is very seven vibration for anybody that's into vibrational astrology, but this is Hermit. And the Hermit, I think that this is landing in the position of the past. So this is something that is passing, something that's moving from where we were to where we're going to head. And I'll tell you about the next card to tell you what's ahead of us. And that is the Queen of Wands, which I thought that's interesting. We're in the Aries
wands
season. This is yes, more fire too, and another queen as well, because we had the Queen of Cups and now we have the Queen of Wands. So this is a very feminine energy, but this is active energy. I love that she has a little black cat too, and I think in the traditional deck, I don't know, it's a little different. I get confused, but she has a little black cat. So she's
black
happy.
kitties.
I do. I love them all, but the black ones are so cute. Yeah. So we're moving from a time of introversion to extroversion is what I would say that looks like. And that makes a lot of sense, being that we are leaving this Pisces season, which is more the wise sage archetype, to the Queen of Wands energy, from the Hermit to the Queen of Wands, which is also very similar to Aries energy, not afraid to initiate something new. We're in a new season, which is spring for the Northern Hemisphere. So we've got a lot of, new things that are shifting, and I think embracing it, not getting caught up in any confusion that has stemmed from the past, and moving forward into the future and knowing that you're going to be successful. Like, I think that's what's really the cards are talking about with them laid out in this Celtic cross spread. Did you want to add something, or want me to pull one of the Osho cards?
No, the only thing that came to mind was just basically backing what the cards are saying, which is there's a lot of strong feminine energy here. And I think anytime that we have, and I said it just a moment ago, queens involved, that this is strong energy. And so whatever changes are coming along, that there has been strong energy happening. And also I thought about the Hermit card, and that so many of us have been in this frame of mind of just kind of going within, going in, internal. And so I do think that I know that I'm feeling the change too. Many of us are feeling this. I want to get outside. I want to connect with people. I want to get back out there and be in classes or groups or whatever it is. And I feel like that we're going to see a shift more into that people are going outside of our homes and getting ourselves out there more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that I totally agree with that, and I think, it makes sense when we go from the winter season to the spring season too. I don't live up north, so we don't have a huge winter here. It's like down south, it's just like, oh, we can open the windows. That's our winter.
Yeah.
We don't need the air conditioning on, but it is what it is. But it is a shift. It's a change of the seasons, and going from that more internalized ideas to the externalized is definitely a thing. So did you want me to pull one of the Osho cards, or no?
Let's move to the next card. I think, let's move to the next card.
Yeah. So the next card is the Chariot card. This is the Chariot card. So the Chariot card is about movement, change, swift action. This shows it up. So if you do the Celtic cross, the first 6 cards are this cross, and then the 7, 8, 9, 10 are like the staff next to the cross, and the first one at the bottom, which is this one, represents the idea of the self. So this is in the placement of the self. The Chariot card means quick movement, changing, growing into something kind of swiftly, And yes, Kaylin asked if this is the after tarot. It is the after tarot deck. So yeah, the moment after. It's not actually so changes, swift action, swift movement, things like that can be kind of expected during this time. I think we were just talking about the movement from one to the other. It's definitely It's definitely like a season for that right now, if you will.
Mhm.
Yeah. So is there something you wanted to add to that, or did you want me to look at the next card? Because the next card is
No,
really
I'm
about what's around you.
Yeah, so I was just going to add that I'm getting the same feeling. Movement was what came to my mind whenever I see the chariot. I just think of like movement, and as you said, swift movement. But also that those cards that go along the side, these are how to get there cards. And so this is kind of the cards that are telling you this is sort of your plan for your future. So I always like to really pay attention. The other cards that we've spoken to up to now are kind of like this is where you've been, this is where you are, and now we're kind of going into these are where you really want to pay attention, because this is your like your recipe for how to get where you're going. And so the swift movement being the first card is in that recipe is like get ready for some big things.
Yeah, it is. Get ready for things to shift and move, and with with a quickness. And sometimes the chariot card can even mean literal movement, like literal travel or moving. So if you're thinking about that, like maybe it's time to start. Maybe this is your sign. It's time to plan something,
Mm-hmm.
or plan something within yourself too. Because we're always doing that. So the card that is on top, which is the what's around you, is the Ace of Cups. So the Ace of Cups is really beautiful. It's talking about
Mm-hmm.
having a new appreciation, a new emotional connection to things around you, opening that heart chakra up, opening that up to allow yourself to receive the positive love from other sources, from other people and things around you. I think it's interesting because that's in what's around you or what's near you. And then what comes up next is your hopes and fears. This is the Ace of Coins. So two aces. One is in the hopes and fears. That could be like a prosperity thing, wanting to make sure that all your needs are met. So what makes me think of this progression of the staff here with the chariot, the Ace of Cups, and the Ace of Pentacles is first the movement and then the opening of the heart and desire to do something from the heart. If you're wanting to do something out in the world, this could be it. And then the Ace of Pentacles being in the position of the hopes and fears. Maybe there's worry or concern about it not supporting you in some way, but the card Ace of Pentacles is saying, hey, you're going to be supported. There's something new around the corner with you in that support system because pentacles are about the earth element. The element is grounding us, keeping us connected to the earthly plane, the 3D world. So it seems like you're being nudged to do what's in your heart, to do the new thing that's in your heart, where your heart is pointing you to, so that you can, collect and become what you're trying to achieve. And I feel like the time is ripe for that, to actually set your goals and kind of make them happen. Did you want to add something to these aces?
Yeah, so the first thing I wanted to add, and then I wanted to see if you wouldn't mind to pull an Osho card because we've had two aces. And so sometimes when I see something like that, and just as a side thought, the Osho Zen deck, which is one of my favorites, it usually goes into emotions. And so I was thinking that we've had two aces, and aces are about beginnings. They're about new things that are new that will be happening. And so maybe pulling an Osho card will give us a little more insight into what that's about.
Mm-hmm. I love the Osho cards too. They're like
They're
so
beautiful
lovingly
too.
worn.
Yes.
They are. Look at the card I pulled. This is so funny. The nothingness
Wow.
card, no thingness
No
card. So this card
thingness.
is, yes, this is specific to this deck, which is not in other decks, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It's so. It's.
And
I
that's
always pull the
so
clarifying card with this one because.
well, I like to think about, and you know that for many years I've practiced Buddhism, and so when it comes to no thingness, to me that's a really special and important card. And to me, it doesn't mean that this is about there's nothing there. It means that sometimes you just have to clear your mind and be in a state of not thinking about a specific thing. And so I think it's interesting that sometimes that we pulled this card is what I was thinking, that sometimes it's just go with whatever comes your way, because a lot of times we want to control. We think, oh, something new and exciting is going to be happening, so how can I find out what that's about? And sometimes what it's about is just take this day in this present moment as it comes, and things will unfold exactly how they're supposed to. So sometimes pulling another card can give us some more insight, but if it doesn't, then I look at that as the universe's way of telling us that we just have to let life happen on life's terms.
That's a good point. Let it happen. Oops, I dropped one. Okay. So should I pull one or no? Another one on that.
Let's give it a try. I mean, we're just going with the flow today, so why not?
Yeah, why not? Let's do it. Okay, let's see. Oops. We have the creativity card. Well, a couple of them hopped out, but this one was a one. So the creativity, she's the Empress, right? Yeah, she's the Empress card. So she's
beautiful
what birds
card.
Everything. Yeah, I know. See, my deck's kind of worn because I love this deck. Yeah, next to the no thingness card, it's like lean into that creativity, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes I feel like when it comes to creativity, again, with the no thingness, don't try to control the creativity. I feel like when we try to be creative and it's like, I have to do it exactly like this, or it needs to look like a specific thing, sometimes those things can be limiting to us. And when you see the no thingness come up, and creativity, is go with the flow of whatever creative feelings you might have. That can be writing, it can be art, it can be music. And sometimes when we let go of what our ideas are on how something should look, the most beautiful things come out at those moments. So, and because we've been talking about new beginnings, I would think that it would be something new, something that we've never tried before. If this reading were being done for me, that's what I would think. If I were my own client at the moment, I would think, this means that I need to be open to things that I've never tried to do before, and getting out there might be involved in how I experience that thing. Do you have thoughts?
That's a good point. Yeah. And the creativity is like, it's bringing about something that isn't necessarily known. I love how I mean, I know the Empress has the moon in the traditional deck, but I love how she's reaching for it here. So she's like, I know that I can get to that intuitive understanding of myself. And I think that's really beautiful. So that I really like that. Next to the no thingness, you're creating that which you're wanting to manifest in your life. So yeah. Yes. Hi Moon. Yes, we are doing readings. We're gonna finish up this general one. If you'd like to just hang out, we're almost finished here. And then we'll take some questions if there's people with questions. So the last card in this Celtic cross spread is the 10 of coins. So as you see, and the 10 of coins, so in the traditional deck, they're all laid out like the Kabbalah tree of life in that shape. And now they're all in the chest. So all the coins are like kind of hanging in the air like that. So I think it's kind of cool. But in this deck, it's like collecting your treasures. You're getting, it's interesting because we had 1 and 1 and now we have a 10. So we have like starting something, then fulfillment of some sort.
And that's what I was thinking. Anytime you see ones, we know that it's about new beginnings. And then when you see a 10, that to me is like, this is a thing. Like, this is a new beginning, and it will be a very strong new beginning. And it will have to do with coming out of our shell. Like, that step will have to happen to reach chances, because like I said, those cards that are on the side, that's your recipe for how you're going to get to where the next card that you'll pull will tell us even more. But anytime you see tens, that is also, it's not just a one, it's a powerful one. So
Right.
it will be about new things as well.
Yeah, because any ending is a new beginning, and this tens are endings, but they're like the positive ending, if that makes sense. So it's something good. So there is a feeling of a shift is coming, but it's also going to be fruitful to give you something back for the efforts that you're putting into it. Yeah. So overall, that's what I would say. And I mean, this has to do with something with the heart, opening the heart, sensitivity, opening your sensitivity to something maybe that you were closed off with before, or maybe that you've been wrestling with before and thinking about with the idea of what you're doing in the past with the hermit card, but you're wanting to be successful and move forward. So this is the time to do that. Allow yourself the space to take action on it. That's what the Chariot card is saying to you. Take the action. Now's the time. Make it happen. Because there might not be a better, riper time to do that, if that makes sense. Yeah. Was there anything overall you wanted to share about this spread before we take some questions?
No, I'm good.
It's your favorite card, Kaylin? That's cool. I like this card. I like the Ten of Pentacles too. So if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll be happy to answer questions that you have. Okay, so Moon Love says, could you please check what is the future of me and Libra? We parted away. Do you see him coming back asking for a reunion? Okay. I will throw some cards and let's see. And what is your sign, Moon Love? You're Sagittarius. Okay. So do you want to start, or do you want me to start with the cards here?
Let's do cards. I already have some intuitive messages coming through, but I'll share those in a minute after I hear some of your cards.
Okay, sure. So I don't know when it was that you guys were apart from each other. I feel like he will resurface again. I'm getting in the significator position. I didn't do a Celtic cross. I did 7 cards, but this one is a significator. It's judgment. It's talking about making sure you use discernment in what you want. So it makes me think that there are cards like the reverse lovers that comes up, and these are the basis cards. Then there's the magician. It was also reversed, so I don't know why I didn't show it reversed. And then there is the devil card. So these 3 cards are like the foundation, and it makes me think that he'll probably resurface again, but I'm not sure he would be authentically wanting, like, hey, let's have a relationship, and like really putting it all on the table for you. So be mindful of like what you really truly want, and being honest with yourself about like, do I want what he's offering? Is he offering what, like something compatible for me? Because if he's not, then it's a decision you get to make, and if you want to entertain that or not. The last 3 cards in the spread. Oh, go ahead. You are?
I just wanted to say, yeah, I'm feeling the same, that this is about you, that you have a decision in this too. And so how you go about, if this person does, do you want them to resurface? Do you really want them to resurface? It's really about what you want and your participation in it. I feel that you've changed. And so it might be that you've changed to a point that you may not be as interested in this as you once were. And so sometimes when people come back into our lives, that's just showing us how we've changed. Can you go back into a relationship and make it work after you've had a reunion? Sure. But sometimes it might be that like you're in I just saw this. I'm thinking to move on. Sorry, it's a little slow on seeing the comments pop up. But the sense that I was getting is that your participation in this will be what's involved in the result of whether it is a reunion or not.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely it. And the cards that are suggested outcomes, possible potential outcomes are, and things to think about are, one is the reverse King of Cups. So this tells me he could be a little closed off, not really opening himself up. Although the Devil card that I showed you already makes me think that there's a sexual connection. So, maybe he's wanting something physical, but not wanting to emotionally open up. Also, the Justice card, which is reversed, saying that, is it fair, is it even, is it coming to a space of things being in balance with each other. And then there's the Two of Coins, also reversed, and this is talking about making a decision, which way do you really want to go to in this. And you're saying he is sexually attracted to you, that would be the Devil card, like that physical attraction. But like, what is it that you want? Do you want just to have that fling? Because it's okay if you do. Everybody has their own decisions. Do you want something sincere? Because that's what I feel like he's lacking.
And also what you were saying about pulling any cups card, I automatically know that this is tied to emotions and like emotional availability. When you think of it, it's kind of like, a cup that you're filling. And I feel that there is an emotional immaturity here, or just a not ready, and that's okay. We can let people have whatever path that they need to have, and that's all right. So I just feel like there's some emotional holding back is what I found. It was interesting that the card was reversed also, and so that's what I think that is there. This person just isn't emotionally mature enough right now to even want anything serious. And sure, they might think that, but sometimes when people are, it is just about sexual attraction. That's telling too. That's just my thought. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. And she was also saying in the chat,
which is very mature of you. Like, that is a very mature thought. Like, this is what I'm about. This is what I want in my life. And, that is very telling when you're not on the same page. It's just interesting. I feel like the cards that you're pulling align with that.
Yeah. And, what you were saying also too in the chat about your feeling that he will get hurt and you don't really want to hurt him. And I had a friend tell me this a couple of years ago, and I was like, wow, I should have known this already. But it's something that stuck with me, is that you don't have responsibility to how someone acts or behaves or takes you. But what you have a responsibility to do is how you communicate with the person, your kindness. So that's the most important part. If he takes it a certain way, that's really not your responsibility. So keeping that in mind is also important. Yeah. And you said you're 21, and also you told him the date to marry, and he says there is an end in the future. So I said, let it end now. What should I do? Please guide. Yeah.
I think that your intuition is already there, Moon Love. I feel like your heart is already guiding you in what you know to be true. And some guidance that I'm getting right now is you will find the right person. And the way that you will find that person is through meeting someone in a way that you're not jumping directly into intimacy. You're not jumping directly into having sex with this person, but you meet someone who is very interested in having a friendship and building a friendship with you first. And I'm seeing like a 4 to 6 month period before intimacy happens, because you have a bond with this person very deeply. And so that is the if you're looking for a recipe for how you will find that person, that will be it. It will be someone that you build a very deeper connection with those are the people that you want for marriage. That's marriage material, is the person who gets to know you, takes the time to see who you are, see what you're about. And I know that we're in this world right now where it's kind of like everything is about sex first and then we ask questions later. I feel like for you and for who you are as a person, that will not work for you. You are looking for something deeper, you're more mature, and the person you find will want to have a connection with you at a deeper level. And so it won't be, let's just jump right in to having a sexual relationship. It will be a lot deeper than that. At least that's what my intuition is saying.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, and wanting to get to know you on a different level than just the physical part. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's anybody else in the chat that wants to do ask a question, feel free to do so. I hope that was helpful for you, Moon Love. Yeah. So how is your little creatures, your puppy? Your little dog. I never hear them in the background, your dog in the background.
Oh, she sleeps almost all day long. I have a teeny tiny dog. Well, she's not that small, but she's a 4 pound dog. And she sleeps all day. She's become a little old lady in the last year or so, where she does a lot of sleeping. So yeah. Are your kitties? I hear a little something in the background. So
Yeah. Yeah. They're good. My kitties are good. I'm waiting for my orange cat to find me, because I know that there's an orange kitty out there that's gonna call me mom.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Kaylin asked a question. She said, "What will come when I connect this summer with Johnny? He's a Scorpio sun, Pisces moon, Sag rising, Libra, Venus, and Mars. I'm a Leo sun, moon, Mercury, Venus, and Cancer, Mars, and Libra. Thanks." All right. So I'm going to use the Osho Zen cards for this question. So let's see. Okay. Well, this is interesting. So the first card I get is the six of swords. It's called the burden card. So it makes me think of this. Maybe you're stressing out over this. Maybe there's something that you're worried about getting into this connection. I threw the Celtic cross too, by the way. And it makes me think that don't stress, like this is important to like go with the flow of things and not let it pressure you, not let the meeting pressure you or whatnot. The card that comes up in the crossing position is the transformation card. Don't mind this card. It's been through a little transformation itself. It's like it did get ripped. I taped it, but hey, it's still here. But yeah, so this is saying that there's potential for transformation in this connection that you have with this person. So I feel like that's important to understand and kind of see for yourself, so that you don't put too much pressure on yourself or worry about the outcome, the answer to the outcome. What's in the root position, which is the one that was stuck on the transformation card, is the change card. So this is saying that there's changes coming. Yeah, these cards got stuck together and I had to operate. But anyway, I still use them because I love them. But go ahead. You were going to say something.
I was just going to say, can you show the change card just for like a few seconds? So this card, oh, it's a little, so it is so beautiful that it is my favorite card. And anytime that I see the change card come up, I always feel compelled to tell people, this is the one sure thing that you can count on in this lifetime, and that is change. And so you have to be willing to just go with the flow of things. And it's possible that when you connect again, that something has changed. We all change and grow. It's up to you whether or not you're in that same space together. So I definitely being prepared for change, or that things have changed, or something will change, might help with whatever outcome this leads to in the summer.
Yeah, that makes sense. I do think there's a potential for intensity. This is in the past position, intensity. Have you met this person, Caitlin? Because this makes me think that there's
I think so.
something that's a spark there. Yeah, there's a spark there. There's an intensity there. That's in the past. And the mind is the ripeness card. So it's like now is the time when you're gonna have to facilitate this change, this, you know, this morphing of the intensity into something else, which I think is pretty beautiful. And then the card that lands in the future is the guidance card. So it's the three of.
And that listen to that guidance.
Three of coins, maybe. Yes, it's it's saying you're being guided. So listen to what your heart is telling you. Listen to what you're being you're being not pushed to explore, but like you're being opened up to explore.
Mm-hmm. And so listen to your gut. Your gut definitely is in tune already. So just go into it without any expectation is what I'm sensing.
Yeah. Well, you haven't met yet in person. Okay.
I see that.
Is to. That's interesting. So here's in the staff. This is the staff cards. This is the Lover's card reversed. This is you. So if you've had pain in your heart in the past, if you've had wounds, which, I mean, if you're alive, most people have wounds from the heart that they may or may not have healed. This is saying that these may surface at some point or another, but it's so you can transform them into healing instead of a wound or something painful. The Lover's card tells me that there could be a connection that you and this other person that we're talking about has a soul connection to meet to kind of untangle some of the stuff, you know, that you're going through. It might not be the happily ever after. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just saying it takes time to unpack all that, of course, but it might be a situation where you're needing to unravel some of this wound stuff with him so that you can grow into the person you're meant to be, the next part of your experience. And then the card that's around you is New Vision. So that does make me think that there's potential for this to go somewhere, but it would be a process, and you know, untangling some of those wounds that I just talked about, that but to get to the space where you're able to have a new vision. And this is the what's around you. So and I'll just talk about the last two cards and then we can dig into them a little bit more. The card that lands in the hopes and the fears is the mind card. It's the actually reversed mind card. So this is saying don't get in your head too much, because I think you can worry or stress out, and that makes sense because the burden card was the first card. So there's this idea of like, I'm worrying too much, you know, I'm stressing out about things. So don't do that. Make sure that you know that things are gonna flow in the way that they're supposed to with this person. And then the last card is the Eight of Wands. This is the traveling card. So it makes me think that I don't know if you'll travel to meet him. He said it will be this summer, but there is a movement of sorts between each other, a movement of sorts between the two of you. Something happens where you are shifting something in yourself to be connected with this person. What were you wanting to say? I kind of just went over.
No, it's okay.
A couple these cards, so you could also talk about them or whatever's intuitively.
A couple of things that came to my mind, or messages that I heard, was don't bring the bricks from previous relationships into this, because, and that could mean any previous relationship. That could be with parents, it could be with siblings. A lot of times it's relational relationships, but doing so, bringing those bricks into this, that will be the fastest way for it to end in disaster. Because I do feel that this is about something new and completely different. But interestingly, the last card that you drew was an 8, and 8s are power cards. If you think of like the number 4 and you think of the shape of the 4 and how it has this like square structure that is very stable. If you think of the 8 is 2 4s. And so it is a very, very stable card. And so in some traditions, they consider 8s to be an auspicious number, that it has almost a magical quality to it, and that 8s are also a power number. And so whenever I see an 8 come up, it's like that is a power card. And so take heed to what that card is telling you, because that will be very important in the outcome of this.
Yeah, and that's interesting. So Kaylin, is this person distant from you? Is that where the traveling part is coming up? You know, I guess that the important part is not to stress out over, you know, whatever is moving forward for you. But I did wonder if this person was further away, like in another city or something like that. Yes, long distance. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, and it's not impossible. It takes a lot of honesty and open communication to make long distance things work. But you know,
definitely. And I feel like sometimes long distance relationships are the type that you do get to know each other better because you do spend a lot of time. I feel like we live in this world where people sometimes seem to think that things need to look like this picture that is, whether it's on the internet or whether it's on television shows or movies or whatever we might have, where relationships can look like a whole whatever you want them to be. And so a lot of times with long distance relationships, you can really get to know a person much deeper than you would if you have all of this chemistry in that first meeting or when you see someone, that clouds your ability to think and discern certain things. I caution people to just take things slow. You don't have to go so fast. If it's the right person for you, they will wait any amount of time. And as you know, Star, my relationship was a long distance relationship. We drove hours to see each other. And we've been together 10 years now. So it is very possible for a long distance relationship to develop. And I feel it's more bonding. That's just my thoughts on it. And that's what I see happening here, is a deeper connection.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's right, Kaylin. Even in person, sometimes it's like the physical part gets so that you lose your mind for a minute, hormones or whatever take over.
And I won't get too sidetracked here on this, but I feel like we need to go forward going backwards, because I think about my grandparents. My grandfather recently passed away, and I found letters and photos and things that were from my grandparents. And this was during World War II. And can you imagine, waiting weeks for a letter to arrive and keeping this flame going and the uncertainty of all of it? And but that is how a lot of people ask, how do I stay in a relationship? How do I, form a solid relationship? I can tell you it does not happen by just jumping right in. It does not happen by it. That is so rare. I rarely and I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. I think we all want that to happen because the media says that's how it should happen. But true, healthy relationships take time, and they develop over time, and they develop over two people making an agreement that we're going to be together and we're going to work on things, and this is how it will look. And it takes a long time to really get to know someone, years. It really takes years. And so we don't have to go fast. And that's what I meant by going forward backwards, is I feel like we need more of that now in the world, where we're moving forward in our relationships by just taking our time. Everything does not have to be a rush.
Yeah, that's important too. And I think that you're right, going forward backwards a little bit. That makes sense. I like that idea. Yeah. And that is even true with just friendships, with just
Yes.
friendships, because when I think of my friends, I'm like, I could meet someone and have a really great conversation that I just met at like Starbucks or wherever. Not that I go to Starbucks, but like I could just be and like have a great conversation, but and then see them again, but it's not the same as if I'm like hanging out with Anamere over here, who's been my friend and seen me in every possible potential frame of mind or whatever over the last 20 years. It's different. It's a different vibe. So that even happens with friendships, and I think that's precious. So when you get, with friends too, you wanna cultivate that. Give them time, give them space to understand you. But obviously, with love relationships as well, that's important.
Yeah, and I
So
think we sometimes forget that your love relationships, the most important thing is that you are friends. Like, that is so vital, that you have to like this person.
yeah,
And I feel like a lot of times we just get kind of wrapped up in what do they do, what do they drive, where do they live. You have to be friends.
what can they do for me?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and
I agree.
there's just so much to be said to genuine, warm regard for each other. And that doesn't feel like sparks and shooty, stars and things like that. There might be some of that. Yes, that's like a normal, that's what happens in our brain. There's a lot of neurobiology to that. But true long term, things that last a long time are built on a lot of friendship. And just like us, we've known each other 20 years. There are times we've like not saw eye, like we didn't see things the same exact way, and that's okay. We're still friends. Or I might go this direction, like, hey, I'm going to go to college, and you're like, hey, I'm going to go to school for astrology, and we both do our own thing for a long period of time. We're still connected. Um, Love relationships look very much like that too. So, um, and just
Yeah,
yeah, I'll get off my little soapbox, but I know that as psychics, a lot of times, like, number one questions that we get have to do with relationships. And so I've, over the last 10 or so years, I've been on this big, like, you're the person that you work with, have you thought about them? The person that you're closest to, you have this friendship with. A lot of times that is your person. It can be.
hmm I love that. Yeah, yeah. You're very welcome, Kaylin. Thank you for letting us
Thank
read for
you,
you.
Kaylin. And I noticed
And
that
so, Crystal,
Bristol has a
hi.
question. Hi, Bristol.
Yeah, Crystal, how are you? Oh, yeah. You know what, Kaylin? I'm glad you've been single for so long, because when you're single for a while, you get to know yourself, and then you know what you want and what you don't want. And then you can better be more
Hi, Bristol.
discerning. You can be more discerning, better be more discerning. That sounded weird. You can be more discerning when you see the relationship and say, yep, this is or is not for me. That's something important to really keep in the back of your mind. So, Crystal, you're asking a question about how will my future husband be like? We're doing good. Thank you for asking. Are you in a relationship, Crystal, or is this just like the husband you want to marry in
Curiosity.
the future? Yeah. Yeah, and I always think too, in relationships, you have to like love yourself first and nurture you in all the ways, because then when you do that, you can know how to love someone else until you love yourself. It's difficult, to love
Mhm.
others. Okay, so you're single right now, Crystal, and your destined partner, you're curious about a partner. Okay. Okay. I'm going to throw the card. What is your birthday, Crystal? If you don't mind sharing. Okay. So the first two cards I get is the reverse Queen of Swords. So the reverse Queen of Swords, and then crossed by the Five of Coins. So this is about knowing what you want, being direct and knowing what you want. So when you are out in the world and communicating with people, being discerning and knowing what you want and going after what you want and drawing that to you. This is about feeling a little bit left in the cold, but it's not necessarily what's going on. It's more of a feeling than it is actually you're being left in the cold. If you feel like you've had a relationship that was difficult, so you're 23 November 2003. Okay. If you feel like you had a difficult relationship that you're moving past and that you felt like left out in the cold from this person, processing that and letting that go is what the Queen of Swords reverse is telling you. Like, let the internal, like, cut it loose, any of that feeling that you weren't loved or wanted or cared for, whatever that happens to look like for you. Letting it go is going to help you move into what you do want in the future. So your question was like, what does that relationship look like? First, it's letting go of anything that wasn't serving you, whether this is a relationship or feeling just in feelings, or you did have a difficult relationship in the past. Well, that makes sense then. So what this is saying to me is that as you're processing and letting go, don't like what Anamere said, not bringing things from the past into the present. It's important to do that because I feel like the cards are pointing to that, and they're pointing to having an attraction to somebody that is maybe similar to what you've been through, and like that's a comfort for you, even though it might not be the most healthiest thing. That's like what's in the future. It's the Seven of Swords. It's like almost getting what you want out of it, but not necessarily, and this is talking about the other person's, like getting what you want out of it, but not necessarily being honest about it, whether it's with yourself or the other person being honest with you. So it's a feeling of not necessarily having that fulfillment that you're really seeking. And how you get to having the fulfillment that you're seeking is through the Ace of Coins, which tells me that you need to find the balance within yourself and really grow from the space of being rooted on the earth and growing outward like a tree would be. Because there's something there. It's like processing, letting go, moving forward, getting grounded with yourself, as the cards are kind of saying to prepare yourself for the relationship that you're wanting to have in the future. The card in the root position is the 10 of Cups. This tells me that you'll find that love that you really want, but it's first like finding it within the self. So there's an ace and then there's a 10. So it's a feeling of like building something for yourself and then letting it flourish out into the world. So before I finish the rest of the cards, did you want to share something here, Anamere?
Yeah, so first of all, I have this sense that you are amazing at manifesting things. And by that, I mean some of us are just naturally great at manifesting things. And so I think that if you put your mind or do some like key little things in your life, and this, I have a sense that it will be some years in the future. I don't mean a lot of years, but make space in your life for this person. And by that, I mean, I often tell people to make space in your closet, clean out a drawer for them, like make room in your life for this person that you are wanting to manifest, because I see that. Yes, I manifest easily. I feel like when you take some steps, and you don't have to do a lot of like really weird or strange things, I feel like it's also our brain, when we put our brain to seeing that empty space in our closet. I will say to myself, I am filling this space with the person that I love. I feel like that opens the door for you to more easily manifest that person. And so I also have this sense that this will develop over time, and also a friendship. And so, where there will be like a connection there. And so, I think that there are some things that you can do, because I believe that you manifest things pretty easily. And just some key little tweaks, I guess, in your daily life would be to make space for this person. And you can start that now. And right when you least expect it, this person will step in. You're not going to be looking for a relationship. You're not going to be like driven, like, hey, I have to have this. This just happens. And it will be a person that just comes into your life at just the right moment, and it flows. You'll know. I feel like you will know when this is the right person.
That's a good point. The cards that are in the staff are the Six of Swords. So the Six of Swords is about getting to a destination. Yep. And then what's around you is the Six of Cups, which is this happy memories, good feelings,
More
good
sixes.
energy, like that's the manifesting. Yep. More that you're manifesting too. And then the hopes and fears department is the moon. The moon is just being afraid of what the unknown, not being sure what you're going to actually manifest, not being sure if it's going to happen, or being fearful. Remember, if you're putting your attention on the worry or concern or something like that, you're manifesting that too. So make sure that you're putting your attention on what you do want. So, and then this is the Queen of Coins. Again, it's like this balance. I wanted a clarifying card for this when I threw it, so I threw it another one, and it's the Fool. It's taking the leap of faith, but having the balance to know exactly what you want and going after it in that moment. So, okay, and I don't mean like I agree with what Anamere said. It's like not you're not looking for it. What I mean by going after it is saying, okay, I deserve this. I know what I want. I have had a little experience in the things I've let go and process them, and now I'm pretty clear on what I want, and going after it by being embodying that what you want, and then allowing it to be drawn to you. So it's not necessarily that you have to go chase after somebody or something. It's going to be drawn to you from the stability that you are, and that's what the Queen of Pentacles.
I was just going to say that is also exactly how manifesting things takes place. Like that's how be really clear about what you want. Write it down. Think deeply about it. Are you being reasonable about what your expectations are? Are you being too, like the other direction where it's like being too open? Be really clear about what it is that you're looking for, and I feel that you will manifest that. You have that. That's who you are. That you manifest things. Also, I just wanted to interject that there were a couple of sixes in a row, and then again you have that queen hop in there too, that this is about love. I also like to, when I describe the six, and I'm not sure, Crystal, if you were here earlier when I talked about this, but when you think of the shape of the six, it's almost like this pregnant mother, and the moon being drawn also makes me think of love, and it makes me think of this time period that we go through while we're manifesting something. There's like this period of pregnancy almost, and I'm not saying that you will have a pregnancy, I'm meaning it's like you're in this waiting and something is growing and developing. I really see that there will be a lot of love there. And that there will be this like a period of time where it's growing and developing.
Yeah, I could see that too. And that getting sure of what you want, that Queen of Coins is definitely going to help facilitate that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So I hope this has been helpful for you, Crystal. Give you some insight there. Okay, so this was fun. We've been on for over an hour, so I think we should probably cut it loose here. But this was fun, and we'll definitely be back again to do it another time. Yeah, thank you for joining
that
me
would be
today.
good. Oh, I loved it. It was wonderful, and we'll have to do this again soon.
Yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that it really helped, Crystal. Thank you for sharing that. Awesome. All right, everyone, take care, and we'll see you on the next one. Follow the channel. If you haven't already, then you will get notified when